And a one, and a two, and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello and welcome to the first ever episode 16 of Whoniverse. You here with me, Jamie?
Me, Lewis.
Dum de 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 dum. Wow, we're even better without Brian.
Does Brian spoil it?
Brian, he goes for a different pitch. Like, he tries to go, ooh, and like, it just doesn't work, Brian.
Okay.
It doesn't work.
So if Brian, you are listening to this, it doesn't work.
No, Brian, it doesn't work. I mean, maybe he just needs a bit of pitch correction, you know, like, maybe he's a bit tone deaf, you know, it's kind of like a disability in its own right.
No excuse, really.
Yeah. So, anything new with you?
No, not really.
Nothing new with Doctor Who world?
Oh, there's definitely things new in Doctor Who world, but or the Whoniverse, as we
In Whoniverse. Yeah.
But yeah.
Nothing of particular interest. My wife is looking. Well, I'm trying to convince my wife to get me season 19 of Doctor Who. Which is the Peter Davison, if I remember rightly. It's like his first series. I think he only stayed on for 2 seasons anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to get those because it's called Doctor Who The Collection, and they're extremely hard to get. The first one we released was season 15, and I didn't get it. I thought to myself, I'm going to wait for it to drop down in price. Yeah. And now it's on eBay for like £500.
Oh hell.
Yeah.
So you did, however, buy one of Tom Baker's series, didn't you? Was it 18? Season
18, yes.
18, yeah.
So I've got that one. I'm going to get the rest of them. Or maybe if we do a reprint of the other ones, I'll be able to complete the collection. Otherwise, I'll just be missing one.
Yeah.
Forever. But, you know, I'm a bit of a collector. When I start something, I kind of want to finish it, so...
Well, your classic is coming together now. Obviously, it's going to take you a long time to collect it.
Well, it's because they haven't all been released in this collection, so I have to wait for it to be real. Oh, it's quite ridiculous. But you know what? I'll get there eventually. It'll just take a couple of years, especially with a kid on the way. So you know, I have to start hiding my things. So we had a poll.
You'll ever know.
We had a poll. Our first section, voting in the TARDIS, as we call it. Mm-hmm. What is your favourite fictional weapon? If you can read out the suggestions.
So the suggestions were phaser, Zach Nictel, lightsaber, and the proton pack.
Now, obviously we know which the winner was.
Oh yeah, we know.
Yeah, by what magnitude do you think it won?
I've actually been following this, so I know. It won by. I wouldn't call it a landslide actually, which is rare. I'd call it a decent lead.
Oh, I'd call it a landslide.
Would you?
Yeah.
It didn't quite get 50% of the vote.
The lightsaber won, by the way.
Yes.
Just for the listeners who aren't mind readers. The lightsaber got 49%.
Okay, so it's not 50.
So, yeah, that's pretty much half of all the votes.
Yeah, but the closest was close enough, and at one point it was leading, you know.
So, the Zat Nictel was at one point leading. It was also at one point in last place. You got very lucky, Lewis.
Well,
there's a bit of a Stargate fandom, but I was able to rile up, bring out of their caves, and charge into the poll, turning it into our most popular poll, actually. 652 votes were recorded, which is a podcast record. I think the previous one was about 300, which is absolutely crazy. And we had 32 surveys returned, of which we have a small handful. Yeah. So lightsaber was in first place, 49%. Yeah. So Zat Nictel, how close do you think it was?
Well, I know the figure, so it was 35%.
Yeah, 35%.
Zat Nictel. Now, the thing is, I believe the poll got hijacked by the Stargate fandom.
Oh, it did.
It got hijacked. It wasn't that, you know, like we'd roused the Stargate fans up. It was that what was the person who was the head of the Stargate page who posted it on the Stargate page?
There was a couple of different people. There was
Stargate Zone at Stargate Zone.
Yeah, there was Stargate Zone, Stargate Now. There were a couple of different people, and what happened was it turned into a sort of word of mouth where one person said, "Oh, I'm voting for Zach Nictel," and then he tagged someone else saying, "Oh, you need to vote on this poll." I mean, it just turned into like a chain reaction. And then at one point, I actually thought that Zach Nictel was going to win. I was like, "I'm not having that. That's not going to happen. Stargate will never win a poll."
Yeah, I know. I was so happy when I saw that it was tying. When I looked into it, I saw that it was tying with the lightsaber. I was like, there is love out there. There is love out there for Stargate still.
Yeah, I wanted to give that poll one more push, but unfortunately when it ended, I wasn't able to get online quickly enough.
Yeah.
But because I really wanted it to get to about 700 votes, but it was really, really close. No love for the Proton Pack, which I found the most surprising. 3%. Yeah, 3%.
I honestly believe that Ghostbusters had a better fan base, but I suppose after the dismal rebranding movie,
the movie was. I enjoyed it.
The movie itself would have been okay if it wasn't Ghostbusters.
You just didn't like that there was women there.
That was nothing to do with it. My thoughts on it were...
pig. This is why we need more women on the podcast.
my thoughts with it were...
Stemmed a Flame by Lewis Brook.
This is a massive problem in Hollywood movies at the moment. These older fan favourites being rebranded with essentially new characters. Everybody wants to see a Ghostbusters 3, and I believe they are now making,
it's
Ghostbusters 3.
The person who wrote and directed the original two Ghostbusters is his son making the third one. Excellent. And he actually posted a tweet saying, "Finally got the keys to my dad's car."
Excellent.
So I'm really looking forward to that. There's a lot of Ghostbusters news about right now. Obviously it's not Doctor Who related, but it's related to the poll. The classic Ghostbusters video game is getting a HD remaster on all modern consoles. Getting the Ghostbusters 3, and there's also a Ghostbusters virtual reality game you can play as well. So there's lots of Ghostbusters. So that's why I'm so surprised the Proton Pack.
Yeah,
I think maybe not a lot of people knew it was called a Proton Pack.
Yeah, maybe, and as well on top of that, we're on the cusp of these new Ghostbusters. There's Ghostbusters games, a Ghostbusters movie coming out. It hasn't happened yet, and if we ran this poll again at a later date, maybe the Proton Pack could get a lot more love than they did.
Definitely. It's all about the time of day and who sees it. I wouldn't risk winning it again because it might hurt your ego when Zach Nictel comes last place.
Well,
because it was last place at one point.
You know what? I fully expected the Phaser to do better than the Zach Nictel, but the thing is with all polls that we've included. We've included Star Trek in. That Star Trek hasn't done that well. I should stop feeling that it should do better than it has done.
Well, I've just noticed that every single poll suggestion was from Star something, except Ghostbusters, Stargate, Star Wars, Star Trek. Yeah.
Excellent.
And then there's
Ghostbusters. I didn't even think about that when I should have put another star in there.
I don't know what other star we could have had. Battlestar.
Star Fox.
Oh, Star Fox would have worked as well, yeah.
Or Battlestar Galactica, yeah. But I couldn't think of anything specific to Battlestar Galactica, I did think about putting something in from Battlestar Galactica, but I mean, Cylon, really, you couldn't add that in because it is a weapon. Although it is a weapon, it's not a tool weapon, like the rest of them. The rest of them are handheld, operated devices where you can't really operate a sentient computer.
So we got some messages. We got
a fair
few responses. I figured because it's just for two of us, because Brian got invited out to dinner and we didn't.
Yeah.
I figured we could have a couple. We usually only do 3, but we've got 6 this week. Well, 5 actually. I miscounted. Or is it 6? I'm dyslexic. What can I say? It's 5. So we got our first comment. If I want you to find his Serbian accent. Please.
Okay. I am not sure whether I can do this.
So we got our first comment from Eliason_Robert on Twitter.
It says that obviously handy dandy. Stealth looks gorgeous. Hashtag Stargate. Hashtag Stargate now.
Huge love for the Zatning Tale.
Mm-hmm.
However you pronounce it.
Zat is a...
Well, considering last week you didn't know how to pronounce it, Lewis, I wouldn't even...
I didn't know how to spell it, to be fair, not pronounce it.
Well, you can go back and listen to last week's. You didn't know how to pronounce it either.
Okay.
We got another one from Slowino on Twitter.
I like the versatility of Zat. Of the Zat. since it can be used to stun, to kill, and or disappear its targets.
Now, before we move on, can you explain what the Zat actually is?
Right, so the Zat it's an OP weapon from Stargate.
OP means overpowered.
A lot of the people who worked on the show actually think the Zat is quite a ridiculous weapon. I've seen interviews with Michael Shanks, with Chris Judge, and with Amanda Tapping, and they all state that the Zat was too OP, overpowered. It would you could literally use it in any situation, and it as well they just felt it was a ridiculous weapon. But basically it stuns, it can kill, 2 shots, 1 shot stuns, 2 shot kills, 3 shot disappears.
Oh, so if I want to get rid of you, I'd shoot you once to stun you.
Yep.
And then the second one, it just changes the setting automatically.
Well, the second one, I don't know, there's some build-up that kills you, maybe, and then the third one just
So there's a timer behind each.
Evaporates. Yeah, this is an interesting question. I'm sure it's raised a lot of debate in the Stargate world, but how does that actually work? I mean, if you shot someone with the stun, how long until you could stun them again? So
is it a single-use weapon if you just want to stun? Does a light pop up? How do you know if your next shot's gonna?
Well, yeah.
Exactly. What if you kill someone back? I only wanted to stun.
I only wanted to stun.
Grandma.
Yeah, exactly. And so you shoot someone, it stuns them. You shoot them again, it kills them. Yeah. You shoot them again, it disappears. And meh. There you go.
Yeah, so we got another comment as well from @WilcoWart, also on Twitter.
Lightsaber is powerful yet elegant. Yes. And has more uses than just blasting. Props to the phaser for having a stun setting, but can it be used for defense?
It's a good point, actually.
It is a good point.
Yeah. Issue with the Zat is that it doesn't have a stun setting, or it might do. You don't know what setting it's on. So when you attempt to stun, you could just.
Well, it's just one after the other, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what if you shoot one person, then shoot another person? Would when you shoot the third person, do they not die but they do evaporate?
Well, what happens if you accidentally double tap as well? Or triple tap for that matter.
Do you have to hold the trigger for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, well, it's not really a trigger.
Stargate is sounding more and more barbaric the more we're talking about it.
You just basically squeeze it and it fires some bluish light beam.
Our next one is from SG1 Marzipan 77, which is a crazy name. Okay.
Lightsaber is a sword. Is a sword.
Start again. Start again.
Lightsaber is a sword. That is a laser. Laser. Need I say more? Sorry, #Stargate now, but that is just ridiculous. Yeah, in that accent it sounds like that. That is just ridiculous. #bleep weapon.
You can say it.
#Venus weapon. What does the 3 shots do again?
So what does that look like?
Very phallic. Very, 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 very phallic.
So we've got our last comment from pfriend82, also on Twitter.
Vote lightsaber because it's more elegant weapon. Phaser has more selection of modes, so probably more practical. That has odd 3 shots. And it vaporizes things. emoji with raised eyebrow. Clarify how long between blasts, and the proton pack is only good for ghosts.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that was fun. Actually, good analysis. You know, we've just been talking about how there's that, you know, the free shot thing. You know,
But that is officially. I don't know why he got. I think he got so many votes because I like the show, not because it's a useful weapon.
Yeah, no,
I think out of all of those, it's proton pack.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bit of housekeeping. It's not only good for ghosts.
No.
You can give someone some serious radiation poisoning.
No, yeah. Burns and all that lot.
Yeah. The lightsaber, you can throw it, use your force to bring it back. Phaser, you can kill and stun.
Well, does the
It's a bit like Russian roulette.
would the lightsaber actually allow you to throw it? I mean, you'd have to force the button as it was going.
If you're a Jedi, you can.
I suppose if you're a Jedi, you can.
You've never seen Star Wars?
I have.
Darth Vader does it in Empire Strikes Back. He throws his lightsaber at Luke Skywalker.
I'm going to alienate half the fan base here by saying that I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan.
So, moving on from that. So it's a big thanks to at Stargate Now_EU and Stargate Zone for their contributions to the poll and saving Vizat from last place. It's actually those two Twitter accounts that really pushed the poll this week, and so, you know, massive props.
Well, you got to think as well. In, you know, even in Stargate fandom, there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of crossover with Star Wars, Star Trek. You know, possibly even Ghostbusters. You know, so
I mean, hopefully, you know, that they've actually started following our Twitter page as well. And we might actually end up with some Stargate listeners as well. And hopefully turn some Stargate fans into Doctor Who fans. And maybe even get a crossover. It's a shame they weren't involved in the crossover poll. Because I think Stargate came last place that time as well. Congratulations for not hitting last place for once.
Hey.
So, we spoke to Brian prior to the podcast for our next poll. And he said he wanted the best science fiction comedy.
How could he not have included Hitchhiker's Guide in that?
Well, that's the thing. So we're going to sort of overrule him.
Yeah, I think we should. What the hell is Weird Science?
Weird Science is sort of an oldie. To be fair.
Do you want to read the nominations?
So we've got Spaceballs, Galaxy Quest, Bill and Ted.
Excellent.
And Weird Science.
Okay.
So I do feel like we should have Hitchhiker. Brian's not a fan of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but I actually really enjoyed that film. It was a great film, I always found.
Well, the sixth part is better.
No film is good compared to the book. Let's just put that straight now.
Oh, yeah.
If you read the books, and then if you read the Lord of the Rings books, and then go and see the films, you wouldn't like it because Peter Jackson changed everything.
Well,
when you go and see the Harry Potter films, once again, everything happens in the wrong bloody order.
Well, prior to the early 2000s release of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, there was a 1970s six-part miniseries about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's definitely worth a look because it's much longer than the film itself, and I think it's much better. It does like the whole cheesy British comedy thing, which I believe complements the writer's work, you know, fantastically.
So we'll get Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in there, and what other, like, when you think science fiction comedy, what else will be like sort of thinking?
Science fiction comedy.
I mean, Spaceballs is a good one. That's a parody.
Or Stargate is essentially comedy as well, just in case you want to float that one as well.
I'm sure it has comedy elements, but I don't think you'll find it in the comedy section at Blockbusters. Blockbusters, for the kids listening, is an old it's an old rental store we used to go to. We used to pick out a video.
You know, there's still one Blockbusters in existence in Alaska.
There's a couple in America.
Oh,
there's 3 in total.
It's in the colder places that can't get a decent internet connection.
You're saying there's only one last Blockbusters. What I'm hearing is we're going for a road trip to go and run it about.
America, Blockbusters.
Road trip. Let's do it.
Wait, I have a 2-year-old and you're just about to become a dad.
Okay. and fail to see the issue? Are we leaving them on their own, or do they have another parent to look after them?
Jamie will make a good father.
I will. My kid will pay its own child support. So I tell you what I'll do is I'll have a look around after the podcast to look at for other. Bill and Ted's definitely staying in there.
Yeah, Bill and Ted all the way.
I tell you what, we'll keep two of these because Brian chose them. So we'll keep Bill and Ted in there.
Well, Bill and Ted's about to become current again, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know, like Bill and Ted 3 coming out sometime next year.
Yeah. And then, which other one do you think Brian would like most?
I think he's rattled on about Galaxy Quest a little bit, and I know that he likes Spaceballs as well. So
Bill and Ted and Galaxy Quest, we'll keep those in.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard him mention Weird Science before, so.
No, well, Spaceballs is more parody than anything else.
Yeah,
so we'll get Hitchhikers in there. And what was the other one?
Hitchhikers.
And we're going to Google the other one. I just
remembered.
Yeah. That's fine. So that's our poll for next week's podcast. So it actually moves on to our topical Who. What is the best instrument in Doctor Who? Now, when I say instrument, I don't mean musical instrument.
Yeah.
I mean, as in, because Brian seemed to get confused.
The guitar.
Yeah.
He said guitar straight away,
yeah.
didn't he?
And I'm thinking, that's not what I mean by instrument.
Instrument as in device, or can it be anything like in terms of clothing, that sort of thing?
It can be anything.
Does it have to have a use? An instrument would have to have a use.
It needs to have a use, so you can't say fez.
Right.
As much as I know you want to.
Yeah, I do want to.
Yeah.
Wait, the Fez had some sort of use. He threw it through a time vortex.
Yeah, and it has a use to wear, but it's not It's not a science fiction instrument, though, is it? So I'll give you mine because I know you're still trying to work out some kinks in yours, aren't you? So mine was the Sonic Blaster. Or as the Doctor calls it, the Squareness gun, where you can escape from anywhere. Captain Jack Harkness had it in The Empty Child, which is also one of my earliest Doctor Who memories, and one of my favourite episodes. And it's also used by River Song in The River of the Dead. The Doctor destroyed the factory that makes them, but they keep popping up throughout the Whoniverse due to time travelling. But I'm unsure as to when the Doctor actually destroyed the factory, as obviously they keep popping up more. So Captain Jack is actually going to return to Doctor Who, hopefully soon. Possibly not in the next series. There's been no note of him, unless you found anything in the news.
I haven't seen anything in the news. I mean, if he is going to be in it, they're keeping it hush-hush and recording in studios.
But they do keep releasing new information. Like, he just keeps coming along with Alex Kingston, who plays with a song. But actually, they do want to come back and reprise their role. So I am looking forward to the Squareness gun making a return, but I just thought it was great. It's I think it was also one of the first examples of a good guy using a weapon as well that I saw in Doctor Who at the time.
Yeah.
And it's a square gun. You shoot things here, a square pops up, and you walk through them, and you replace the square with another square. The Sonic Square Gun, Sonic Blaster. And I remember they were older. Hey, bye, mommy.
That's creepy. Don't do that.
Thank you. That's what I'm going to do to my children. In fact, I'm gonna play my episode like it's a documentary and say that actually happened.
That is ultimately.
But I remember when Captain Jack Harkness and Doctor were back to back about to fight them all off, and Captain Jack Harkness says, "Have you got your Sonic?" And he's like, "Yes, I've got my Sonic." It's just holding up a screwdriver, and he's like, "Good, blast him." And he's like, "Different kind of Sonic." But so what's your favourite?
Right. I've had a quick think about this, and if we're going for devices, instruments, as you put it here, it'd have to be the moment. The moment is an immense instrument. The
moment doesn't do anything.
The moment does everything.
What does it do?
Well, it doesn't do anything in the show, but it's built to destroy galaxies. It's built to destroy.
Allegedly.
All right, allegedly, but it's so powerful that it needed a sentient operating system to talk you out of using it. Okay, which can take the form of anything, past, present, or future. How awesome is that?
How useless is it for it to take form with someone from the future that you've got no emotional connection to yet?
It's useless, yeah, right. But it's an amazing plot device.
If she'd have taken the form of Elizabeth Sladen, maybe it would have made more sense.
Yeah, but I mean, I found that part interesting, that the operating system was so powerful that it could take the form of anyone, whether you knew them yet or not. Of course, it had to take the form of Rose Tyler, which, yeah, to me, worst possible choice you could have made.
Well, credit to Rose Tyler, she's one of the responsible parties for reviving Doctor Who into the modern era. If it wasn't for Billie Piper, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
I'll give you, her acting in The Day of the Doctor was way better than it was in the original, revamped series. Mm-hmm. She has improved as an actress, but I just can't forgive her for 90s pop. Okay, I just can't forgive that.
I didn't like her. I'm just, why are you having to go at me? All I was just saying, credit where credit's due, and you're attacking me.
You're defending her. You are defending her.
You're gonna orphan my children.
I'm going to play you back to back Billie Piper, right?
What songs?
Songs, yes, and we'll see how you feel about her afterwards.
Okay, fine. Well, I already have a massive crush on her, so So it's the moment.
The moment, yeah.
That we never get to see used is your favourite.
Well, it's a weapon so powerful that if you get to see it used, everything's just.
Oh, you'll be really jealous of this, Sven.
Go on.
I'll post this on the Twitter page as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have a picture of me and my wife with the moment in the Doctor Who experience.
You had a moment with your wife in the Doctor Who experience?
No, me and my wife with the moment.
You and your wife. I'm just hearing you and your wife had a moment in the Doctor.
We have a moment everywhere we go.
I'd have a moment as well with my wife in the Doctor Who experience.
But no, we saw the moment. Did you go to it?
No.
No, you missed out.
I did, yeah.
But it was amazing, and trust me, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. I can say that because I've been, and I know if I'd known what I was going to miss, I'd regret it. And it was exactly that good. It was just amazing.
I don't know what I've missed, so therefore.
Oh, trust me, I'll show you some pictures.
So you're going to make me regret it for the rest of my life?
I'm going to make you regret listening to your wife. I don't want to go. Okay, we won't go then. You can just go by yourself.
Yeah.
You can make friends there.
Okay. Dresses 11.
Yeah. But anyway, that brings us on to Nubian News Network. Are you sticking with that name?
The Nubian? The Nubian Who's Network.
So, hang on. Theme tune.
We don't have a theme tune.
It's my moment.
Alright.
Because Brian's not here to do his weird thing with his phone. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom.
Hello and welcome to the Nubian Who's Network. So we've got one story on the network today.
Just really quick to interject. If you're trying to imagine what Lewis looks like, imagine Jason Statham, but really old.
I knew you'd mention that at some point in the podcast. Cheers.
I had to. It was really difficult not to.
Yeah. Okay, so the news today then is Big Finish are going to be releasing The Lost Stories. These are two classic TV shorts. The first one is with Peter Davidson. It was pitched as an idea, but it didn't get past pre-production. So there'll be the two stories will be one Peter Davison and one Colin Baker. They'll be actually doing the audio for these plus a full cast. The first one for Peter Davison is titled Nightmare Country. Sounds ominous and nice already. So it seems like a bit of a horror themed one. So here's a quick synopsis. Davison wakes up on a planet of relics, a dead and hostile world. No memory of who he is or how he got there. Right, so this was a story that was pitched originally for the 21st series of Classic Who.
Yeah.
And I would say this is probably the better of the two stories. I'll read you the other one in a minute, but I like the horror episodes. I like a deep dark episode, and I like the fact that in this the Doctor can't remember being who he is. He can't remember the Doctor, and how they'll play that out. Hopefully.
Yeah, because the Doctor's never really a powerful character, but his superpower really is his knowledge.
Yeah.
So taking away his knowledge and then seeing what he
can do
is quite incredible.
I mean, yeah, we're talking amnesia, so are we talking retrograde amnesia where he gets it back, bit by bit as he goes through the show? Is he going to remember things like mathematical equations, how to do things, this sort of thing, but not remember his personality?
Well, I think some things that maybe are second nature, like walking and talking.
Oh yeah.
So some things that he may consider second nature as a Time Lord, so mathematics. I don't think he'll forget those because it's just second nature to his race.
Yeah.
Or we do get really extreme amnesia where people do wake up and forget how to speak.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah,
but I don't
blah,
think,
blah, 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 blah.
For some reason, I don't think that would be a very good plot line. Do you? He just doesn't remember anything. So yeah, he's plunked on this planet, this dead and hostile world, and he's he doesn't know who he is or what's going on.
So it's like Hunger Games with memory loss.
Well, add a few more characters in, and yeah, it quite possibly could be. There is no mention of a companion in this episode at all. It just seems like the Doctor's alone.
How long's the episode, did it say?
I think it's going to be around about the timing of a Classic Who, which is 25 minutes, yeah. Now, moving on to the second synopsis, it's Colin Baker. It's called The Ultimate Evil. Yeah, I feel you have to say it in that voice, How would you say The Ultimate Evil?
The ultimate evil.
Exactly. You have to say it in so the ultimate evil. Now the plotline to me seems a little weak, but it was originally planned to go on air. So this
I was talking to my friend the other day. Yeah. And we were talking about how we loved old movie trailers. In a hobby all started with "In a World." Yeah. So it just reminded me I'm thinking, in a world where good no longer resides, Colin Baker stars in The Ultimate Evil. And it would always end it, if it wasn't in a world, it would say, coming this summer. Like, what's coming this summer?
So, originally planned to go out in '86, this episode. So it was in the reams of production. It was going to be produced. But Doctor Who went on a hiatus for a year, and when it came back, they'd scrapped all the storylines for the 23rd season, and they were going to redo it. In this story, so here we go. Quick synopsis on The Ultimate Evil.
Coming this summer. When does it come out?
It's actually November this year.
Coming this fall.
So in this story, Baker and Perry, Nicola Bryant, they see their holiday plans go awry when they're faced with a slimy super salesman, Mordant, and his scheme to start a war. What are your thoughts on this, Jamie?
So, does Arnold Schwarzenegger star in this? Or is it a Stallone film?
Well,
because I'm expecting people to slam doors and explosions to happen as a result.
Yeah, no, I think something.
That was quite dramatic.
Yeah, but I mean, the way
that's the 80s, that's 70s and 80s. Everything was very dramatic back then. It was all action movies and explosions.
I just like the fact that they describe him as a slimy super salesman. I mean, what's he selling? How slimy is he as well?
Have you played Resident Evil 4?
Yes.
What are you selling?
Yeah.
What are you buying? That's a slimy
Yeah,
salesman.
he is well slimy.
And he's just there when he opens up his big coat and like, one day you're not going to be wearing clothes, are you?
Oh, grim thoughts. So so this slimy super salesman. Any thoughts on this?
That needs to be someone's Twitter handle. Like,
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Should we start the Twitter account?
I think it's too long. You need to sort
Change
out
mine
your.
to-
You need Elbrook14 isn't a very good Twitter handle.
No, I know. I'm just not that interested.
What about Huey Louie?
Well, no, we'll get to that. Right, so the release date is November. They haven't given a day in November, but it will be released in November. You can pre-order this.
Probably November 14th.
Possibly, yeah. You can pre-order this at on DVD
For $12.99.
for $14.99, or download it for $12.99.
Damn it, I was reading it writing upside down.
Yeah, you really shouldn't do that. Just a quick side note on the Nightmare Country. The reason it didn't make it past the pre-production was because the editors advised that the writer, which I forgot to take names, sorry guys,
All girls.
The writer had written another £1 million movie idea. That's literally the reason. They felt that it was made for the big screen, and they couldn't do it. A, they couldn't do it justice, and B, it would cost too much to produce.
Some of these old stories, I wish we'd just reuse them and just use them for like a modern Who, or just make another just make make a film, make a straight to TV Doctor Who movie. So it's like, just go for it. Just don't worry about time constraints or.
Well, remember what happened last time they made a Doctor Who movie, Jamie? We don't talk about that, okay?
It's a classic film, okay? It's got a 6.2 in IMDb.
6.2 is like admitting defeat, okay? Anything lower than a 7 and I just won't entertain it unless it's a B-movie horror.
Whenever I go to the cinema, I've always got a rule. I'll never see a film that's rated below a 6. Because I know the general populace is very, very harsh. Like, people either don't like it or they like it. If they like it, they'll give it a 10. If they don't like it, they'll give it a 0. Yeah. And then it's always what happens in between. So with IMDb, I would say 6 or above, and I'll see it. I think as well, there's got to be an upper limit, because if a film has too much of a following, then you find that it's very Hollywood and very same old. Well, I still don't see films that interest me, but there's just if there is for example, I really, really want to see Hellboy, but you got a 5.4, so I didn't go see it. Yeah, I'll watch it when it comes out on Netflix or Sky Movies. I always stick to it. Anyway, is that it for the news?
Yeah, that was everything for the news.
That's it for the news. So I moves on to history lesson with Brian.
He's not here again.
He buggered off, yeah. So we watched Spearhead from Space. I've got the div in front of me. If I just read you the synopsis. Shall I use the voice in the world?
I think you should. Not that voice. What voice would you say that it needs?
Exiled from Earth. Can't do accents, man.
No, come on. You've got to give it a try. I always give it a try. I sound ridiculous.
Difference is you can do an accent.
No, I can't.
Okay, hang on.
Do a Scouse accent. Go on.
Oh no, I can't.
That's like Irish.
Hang on.
Hey.
Hang on. I'm from Dublin. I'm warming up my Irish. From Dublin. Expelled from Earth in the late 20th century by his own people. The Time Lords, a newly regenerated Doctor, arrives in Oxley Woods alongside a shower of mysterious meteorites. Investigating these unusual occurrences is the newly formed United Nations Intelligence Task Force Unit, for short. Led by Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, Unit has soon called into action when people and meteorites start going missing. Stop laughing. Most puzzling of all is the attempted kidnap of a strange hospital parent, a man with 2 hearts, who insists that he recognizes the brigadier. The new doctor soon joins forces with his old friend Unit and recently recruited Dr. Liz Shaw, but time is running out. Irregular things are happening at the nearby plastics factory, where faceless creatures lurk in the woods. The Nestrines have arrived and want to conquer Earth in a world.
Excellent, man, excellent.
So that's my attempt at Irish.
The Irish who listen to this podcast when this is uploaded are going to be absolutely screaming at you.
I don't think we have any Irish listeners.
Please, if we do have any Irish listeners, comments on Jamie's accent on the Twitter account, please.
I can do a Scooby-Doo impression, you know. Gravy!
You should have read that.
Raggy! Except for me. The Scooby accent doesn't work in sentences.
No, probably not. Yeah. It needs to be short bursts.
Sorry, Scoob. I don't know.
Okay.
Power from the dark side is exile from Earth. I could have done a bit Yoda. Anyway, so
my thoughts on this Spearhead from Space. It's early days with a new Doctor, third Doctor. I love Pertwee's performance. You know, interesting actor, very very skilled in his trade. It's just unfortunate that they chose the what are the enemy called in this one?
The Autons.
Autons. The Autons in this story. They also chose the Autons in the first the first revamp episode as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, all the mannequins came alive. I'm actually thinking about going back to watch that with because I never realised they were a classic enemy. They actually scared the jinkies out of me.
I also
Scooby-Doo now. But
I thought they were quite lame, the Autons. When I first watched that revamp episode, I was less than impressed, and it's actually what drove me away from the show for a while until eventually, you know, I came back to it. One of my friends,
Lewis, it got good.
Yeah, he'd advised me that basically a lot had changed in the intervening years.
Well, I think it's just the style of Russell T Davies, where he was trying to remain in keeping with Classic Who, but he also did sort of standalone stories that didn't really intermingle with each other too much. That wasn't long story arcs didn't actually start popping up until the Moffat era, really. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't help but seeing his son Sean Pertwee. I don't know if you ever saw Gotham.
No, I haven't, but you've mentioned before.
Yeah, so like it plays Alfred in Gotham, and it's absolutely the spitting image. Like looks exactly the same. Like Sean Pertwee could go and play the Doctor.
Yeah,
like that's how good it is. It's just incredible. It looks exactly the same.
I'm gonna have to have a quick look at this. Right
down to all the wrinkles. It really was remarkable. I did have a couple issues though. Going back in time, did you notice there was some issues with the sound recordings? Like they were in some rooms, and it felt like everybody was being recorded. It's because they're all being recorded through one microphone, and so you know when people lean forward or lean back, like. You'll hear it now.
Yeah.
You know, like you'll notice my voice is going back and forth because I was moving back and forth. That's because there's only one microphone recording this podcast, and I think that's how that episode was recorded as well. Like,
possibly due to monetary restraint, like of the time as well. The equipment wouldn't have been what we have today. You know, we have directional microphones that can pick up.
Thing is, all those were around, but don't forget, Star Wars is already. Well, actually, no, it's 1970. Yeah. Star Wars is just around the corner at this point as well. So it's not like it wasn't beyond the realm of possibility. It's getting rid of the echo was just a matter of filling up the room a bit. You know, you need, because the sound was bouncing around, so you need more soft elements on the walls, or
pick up the
just to it. And all that does it just softens the echo when it comes back, which is something that can also be helped by having an extra microphone, just one extra. Because there was one point where Brigadier goes and opens the door and walks out the door to have a conversation and comes back in. And there was massive audio quality dips there. I don't think that was a product of its time either, because I've watched other shows, you know, that were, you know, like Dukes of Hazzard, for example, that were recorded around the same period. I think that was even earlier 60s. Or if you look at Adam West Batman, never had that issue there. In fact, it had even higher production value, actually. But we won't go into that. Like when he almost took the TARDIS down when he fell out of it. But no, I just found the audio quality of the episode to be very distracting from the main story.
There was
go on.
There was definitely some some lines in it that were a product of the time. The comment that the not that the brigadier but the other general, the army general, made to the female scientist. I don't know names. Made to the female scientist when he met her. He said it was quite irregular, or something along those lines. When he said, the brigadier says, she's not just a woman, you know, she's a scientist. And
no. She said she's more than a pretty face.
She's more than a pretty face.
Yeah,
that was it.
I remember that one.
Yeah. So there's that, and I found it a little odd that the Doctor actively wanted an automobile. You know, I know that in later seasons he ends up with one, or in previous seasons he's had one.
It's in the upcoming. It'll be coming. It's like, but you know, do you remember when I was looking at registrations?
Yeah.
I was trying to copy that one because his registration was Who. I'm a number one.
Excellent.
Yeah. One of my favourite quotes from the episode was when the Doctor said, "Yes, he's more unconscious than anyone I've ever seen." And I started thinking, how unconscious can a person be? You might as well have said he's more dead than anyone I've ever seen. Like, yeah. Oh.
Where did this doctor go to medical school?
I know. Yes, he's more unconscious than anyone I've ever seen. I want him to make like my text tone. Story-wise, very enjoyable. Quirky getaways in a wheelchair, alien sightings, and our first introduction to classic unit. I really, and we, as modern Whovians, well, you know, the Brigadier's daughter, who's dead now. I think she died.
Did she die though? In the Day of the Doctor, the last time we saw her. Oh yeah. Wait, no, she was still alive because the.
Because once she gave her life.
The Silurian, Suckery people. Zygons, that's the one.
Yeah.
The Zygons copied her but didn't kill her because there were two of them in that.
The thing is, Unit's gone now.
In the Black Archive.
Allegedly, Unit's gone now. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Which was quite sad. Like, it was an alien invasion. I need Unit. Oh, they're gone now. We had some budget cuts, and I thought.
Couldn't afford the army uniforms anymore.
That was a dig at the Conservatives if ever I heard one. It was also the first ever Doctor that I've ever seen to have a tattoo. In what looked like a snake or a question mark on his right forearm. I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't know, but yeah.
Yeah, no. I also loved how casually.
Wait, was it a dark mark?
Yes. It's from Harry Potter.
It's from Harry Potter. No, it's just that John Pertwee. He's a
Death Eater.
Yeah. He would be a really good Death Eater. You know, like he looks the part of the magician. He dressed as the Doctor.
I think he's dead.
Yeah, but still, did he time travel, star in Harry Potter, and then?
You know what? That does work actually, doesn't it? There was also, remember earlier we said, we'd never really seen blood in Doctor Who before. There was blood in this one as well during the car crash, all over the windscreen.
Yeah, there was.
And there was also a heavier than normal use of guns. Like I found guns were the answer to the problem in this one.
Yeah, the army did go heavy on the guns, didn't they?
But I think it's because I remember Brian mentioning John Pertwee was the action Doctor. He wanted to be more like James Bond centric.
Is Pertwee the one that did the sword fighting bit, or was that?
I think it was. If only Brian was here.
Yeah, he'd be able to tell us.
If only he turned up for the
If
podcast.
If our history professor was here.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it though. It was a great story. I really loved it. You know, it was a nice first introduction to what would have also been the first introduction for other people to John Pertwee as well. The story, it was also, it was just really good.
I felt the acting from Pertwee was amazing, and it really sort of pushed me to go out and watch the rest of Pertwee. I really want to do it.
It was
now.
comic. It was genuinely funny as well. Like, are you having a joke?
Yeah.
What is this blood? I pulled it from the man myself, and I don't know who he is, but it's my job to look at. Oh, what for Dickens? He's more unconscious than anyone I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I mean that part interesting, but I just felt it was.
I mean, he tried to go to sleep with his shoes.
Oh yeah, he wanted his shoes. He was acting kind of crazy so he could get his shoes. But
he is crazy.
He wanted the TARDIS key. That was what he wanted. No, I didn't enjoy it as much as you did. I felt that it was very Baby Giraffe legs. You know, like it was his first episode, and he was not the actor himself, but the show was just learning to walk with the new Doctor.
No, I think that's intentional though, because the Doctor's just learning who he is. Like, if you look at Capaldi's first episode to Capaldi's last episode, they're completely different in contrast to how the character is. Each time the Doctor regenerates, he does have some sort of momentary memory loss, doesn't quite know who he is, and it's about building up that character again. So sort of starting fresh, as he is a brand new, technically same memories, but as a brand new person, he's got different likes and dislikes. You know, the first couple of Doctors, we all love brandy. Matt Smith's Doctor hated alcohol; it tasted disgusting to him, to the point where he threw it all out of the TARDIS. There was no alcohol anymore. I don't know if you remember when what was his name? David Bradley. He asked for brandy for Matt Gattis, and Capaldi was like, "It's custard creams."
No, he does get some brandy, and he goes. He says to him, "What have you?" I've watched this recently. This is what he goes. Who's been at the brandy? You know, like, and he goes, "I might have had a nip in the last 900 years or so."
Yeah, how old is the Doctor? By the way, do you know the rule number 1?
Yes.
Forget everything you've been told.
Okay.
Like, every Doctor has a different rule number 1.
Do they?
Yeah.
Ah, right.
Don't wander off. The Doctor lies. Another one, I think John Pertwee's was rule number 1. I'm in charge.
Ah, right. Okay.
So it's not just for Doctor lies, which is obviously the one we refer to the most.
Yeah.
So if you were to rate the episode, how would you rate it?
It's difficult balancing the the production as a whole up against.
Well, let me make it a bit easier for you. We're going to rank it with number of capes.
Number of capes.
That doesn't make it easier; it just makes it more fun. Sorry.
I'm going to give it 6.3 capes.
6.3. Wow.
Yeah, I want some leftover material. You see.
It's so funny. I'm giving it 8 out of 10. I love it. It's probably one of my favourites.
I've got plenty of material where that came from as well.
It's one of my it's one of my favourites. Classic Who. I really, really enjoyed it.
8 capes.
8 capes out of 10. I loved it more than, what was the last one we watched?
It was Caves.
Androzani.
Androzani.
I liked it more than that. But in this one, the Doctor seemed to actually have a place. He had a purpose. He had a plan. He executed the plan. The plan worked. If he wasn't there, S would have hit the fan. Okay. Cape Town would have turned into no town at all. There you go. No, it's one of the first Classic Who episodes we've watched where the Doctor had an actual use being in the actual story.
Yeah.
And it's being blackmailed by Brigadier as well, which makes it even better. So I absolutely love the episode. In fact, no, I forget 9 capes out of 10.
Okay.
I love the acting, I love the humour. I loved the inclusion in the story. It was absolutely beautiful. And I think it was a great... I think it's because John Pertwee had a massive hand in the episode as well. So next week, we'll be looking at Daleks' invasion of Earth for summer in a world. So, do you know anything about that episode?
I've seen the case to it. I've heard a little bit about it, but not a lot.
Who's in it? Which Doctor? If only Brian was here.
Yeah,
to give us more information.
I think it's Pertwee again, isn't it?
It's definitely not Tom Baker. He said it was earlier than that.
It's earlier than Tom Baker, so I think it is Pertwee again. Although, I can't be sure. It's definitely not Hartnell. I know that for a fact. So I think we are on Pertwee again. But it would, as you say, it would be good to have Brian here, so he could advise us who the Doctor was, or we could use this excellent invention called the internet and find out.
Well, whilst you're looking that up without any impromptu, so I can stall for time whilst you look it up, but. I don't think John Pertwee has any other things. It's just Kate. I liked how he stole the cape from the Doctor as well. From that. Oh, hey, the Doctor stole the cape from the Doctor. Yeah, I just noticed that's quite funny. And this is the first mention where only he can use the key to enter the TARDIS. So what's the point of having the key in the first place?
What does he say that it is? Is it
biometrically locked? I think was the phrase, which I think is quite silly considering we know from future series that anyone can open the TARDIS with a key. He literally throws the key at people saying, "Go in the TARDIS."
Yeah.
And since when did he have a watch to locate where the TARDIS is?
Yeah, it looked quite snazzy as well. Yeah, that was the thing. It was quite nice to look at.
Other than the TARDIS, the Doctor's never been very reliant on technology. When this one's like, I need a car, I've got my watch. Without the watch, I don't know where the TARDIS is. I don't know what I'm going to do, and I'm lost. I need my home.
Well, this is saying Peter Cushing, but Peter Cushing wasn't one of the official Doctors, but it's the Daleks' invasion of Earth 2150, which is not so far away, to be fair.
Yeah, I tell you what, we'll leave it for Brian next week, won't we? So we're out of time. That means it's the end of the show. That's it for Whovian Whoniverse this week.
Be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Just type in Whovian Whoniverse. While you're there, be sure to check out our other weekly show, Product Rewho. This Friday's episode, we look at Doctor Who Notebook. Exciting.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter. Our handle is Whoniverse.
Follow Jamie at Watson's Musings.
And you can follow Lewis in real life or at Elbrook14. You need to work on changing that.
Yeah, we've spoken about that.
Yeah, what about Whovian Lewis?
Well, I'll think about it and I'll sort it out.
Okay. You've been listening to Whovian Whoniverse. Have a week!